If I were to tell you that scientists have found a new planetary system on the outer edges of the solar system that has the capacity to be autonomous, would you believe those claims? Welcome back, space enthusiasts, to another mind-blowing episode of Spaceverse, where we unravel the mysteries of the cosmos. Today, get ready to embark on an interstellar journey as we delve into the latest groundbreaking discovery from NASA. So buckle up, space travelers, and get ready for an adventure beyond the stars. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on all things space. Let's get started. Currently, the secrets of the Kuiper Belt have been revealed by NASA. These secrets reveal a cosmos that is alive with unusual things that may operate according to laws that are completely different from those that govern our own solar system. An abundance of minuscule planets, extreme trans-Neptunian objects, and mystery asteroids are shedding light on a globe that was previously almost entirely dark. The Kuiper Belt has only recently begun to be explored, and this trend is expected to continue. In the past, this region was situated beyond the edge of the solar system between 30 and 55 astronomical units from the Sun. This distance is well beyond the scope of our current scientific skills. Due to the fact that there is so little light that reaches this spot, telescopes have a difficult time seeing in this area. Nevertheless, the existence of the Kuiper Belt has been acknowledged for a considerable amount of time. The discovery that something similar to the asteroid belt that exists between Jupiter and Mars must exist behind Neptune was made by the astronomer Gerard Kuiper in the 1950s. It was Kuiper's reasoning that these objects, despite the fact that they orbit the Sun invisibly yet leave fingerprints in the general architecture of the solar system. We gained a deeper comprehension of this strange region when technological advancements were made. More than 4.6 billion years ago, when the solar system was still in its early stages, the protoplanetary nebula that surrounded it gave rise to the Kuiper Belt. This occurred while the solar system was still in its early stages. The Kuiper Belt contains a variety of objects, including as comets, dwarf planets, rocks of varied sizes, and dust, which are all evidence of this early stage and can reveal information about the beginning of the solar system. One thing that almost all of the objects that are currently in this orbit have in common is that they have never been able to accumulate enough mass to become large, spherical objects. There is not a single planet in the Kuiper Belt that has amassed sufficient mass to be classified as a planet, regardless of how small it may be. The width of the Kuiper Belt is approximately 25 to 50 astronomical units, which is equivalent to 3.7 to 7.4 billion kilometers. As a result of the fact that this region has been given so little attention up to this point, as well as the fact that it contains objects in the so-called dispersed disk that orbit at extremely elliptical and slanted angles, the data is erroneous. It is believed that there are more than 100,000 objects in the Kuiper Belt that have a diameter of more than 100 kilometers. Researchers have estimated that the total amount of everything, including smaller pieces of ice and rock, is somewhere in the billions of dollars. Due to the fact that even the most powerful telescopes are unable to detect these extremely small objects, we do not yet have a definite count. Therefore, the Kuiper Belt is a region of the solar system that is abundant in the possibility for new discoveries and intriguing occurrences. When it comes to the Kuiper Belt, Pluto is the point of entry. Pluto is not Neptune's only body, yet quite a few people are unaware of this fact. Following the exciting finding of the planet in 1930, the search for planets came to a halt for a considerable amount of time. The fact that Pluto has friends was a complete secret. Take into consideration the fact that not a single clear picture of Pluto had ever been taken until the New Horizons spacecraft arrived on the dwarf planet in the year 2015. Due to the fact that Pluto was shown in art form for a considerable amount of time in textbooks and on the internet, and no one really realized that these pictures weren't based on reality, this information is mostly unknown. Up until 2015, Hubble was only able to get a slightly blurry image of Pluto. After that, we were finally able to get a clear view of the dwarf planet. Pluto had been mostly neglected in the past, with the exception of its surface texture and other physical properties. Instead, it was given the status of a mathematical constant and a cosmic phantom. We are now aware that Pluto possesses sentience, and we are also aware that there are honeycombed landscapes and mountains of frozen nitrogen, both of which indicate that there has been geological activity in the recent past and is now occurring. Pluto was found to have a surface that is extremely colorful and diverse, according to the discovery. This planet is not only the tiniest in our solar system, but it also has the largest moon of all the planets in our solar system, due to the fact that Charon's size and mass were identified in 1978. It is possible that Pluto and Charon are a double dwarf planetary system. The other 4 moons of Pluto are called Styx, Nix, Hydru, and Kerberos. It is important to note that these moons are significantly smaller and more deformed than Pluto itself. Since 2006, Pluto has been officially placed in the category of a trans-Neptunian object and a dwarf planet, having previously been classified as a planet. This categorization was brought about as a result of the discovery of a group of planets in the Kuiper Belt that together consist of an independent system. The origin of the dwarf planets is a mystery. This was unexpected. The discovery of other dwarf planets frolicking on the solar system's periphery was yet another groundbreaking scientific finding. We have been more and more enthralled by things like Haumea, Eris, and Makemake ever since we found out about them. The dwarf planets, which now include Pluto, may create a separate universe, the nature of which is only now being uncovered. With a diameter of around 2,326 kilometers, Eris is the largest of them, barely smaller than Pluto. From coast to coast, it must be nearly as wide as the USA. This dwarf planet is larger in mass than Pluto, although being somewhat smaller. Many academics are interested in learning more about the surface makeup of Eris, and this enigma has fascinated experts. Haumea will soon be the next Kuiper Belt surprise due to its elongated shape caused by its rapid rotation. With a circumference of 1,632 kilometers, Haumea is roughly the same width as the Grand Canyon, at only about 1,430 kilometers in diameter. Makemake is smaller than Jupiter and Saturn's moons, and could be an intriguing icy object like Jupiter's and Saturn's moons. The unique histories of these dwarf planets provide light on the richness and variety of our solar system, and scientists aren't ruling out the possibility of many more undiscovered dwarf planets in the Kuiper Belt. Trans-Neptunian objects of exceptional magnitude provide evidence that Planet 9 does in fact exist. You would have thought that it could be so murkier than it did. As a result of the appearance of extreme trans-Neptunian objects, often known as ET-NOs for short, astronomers have once again opened an exciting new chapter in the exploration of the outer reaches of the solar system. This new type of objects is characterized by their orbits that are extraordinarily broad. A couple of the most well-known members of the gang include Sedna and 2012 Vice President 113, also known by his moniker Biden. These objects, which are located a significant distance beyond Neptune's orbit, provide an uncommon means of expanding the boundaries of the solar system. There is a possibility that the enigmatic Sedna can be located in its orbit as far away from the Sun as 936 astronomical units, AU. This extends much beyond the boundaries of the Kuiper Belt that are now known, and the orbit is so eccentric that it takes Sedna more than 11,000 years to complete one revolution around the Sun. The discovery of Sedna in 2003 was a game-changer, since it demonstrated that the solar system may include an undiscovered population of distant objects, and that it is substantially larger than we had previously believed it to be. ET-NOs can be found in orbits that are as far away from the Sun as 80 AU, and Biden, also known as 2012 VP 113, is just one of many of them. Both Biden and Sedna have unusually prolonged orbits, which raises the likelihood that they were both influenced by the gravitational attraction of a mass or object that is located in a distant location. The fact that this material might shed some light on the enigmatic 9th planet makes it much more intriguing to consider. 2 of the extraterrestrial planetary nebulae, ET-NOs, whose orbits have scientists considering the possibility of an undiscovered new planet considerably more seriously, are Sedna and 2012 VP 113 at the moment, in the time leading up to Pluto's demotion. Any hypotheses concerning Planet X, or the object that was originally known as Planet 10, were nothing more than speculation. This hypothetical Planet 9 has the potential to be huge enough to exert gravitational influence on the orbits of extrasolar planetary objects, ET-NOs, which would explain why these ET-NOs orbit the Sun in such a way that is both extremely far away and irregular. Furthermore, if ET-NO research is allowed to continue, it is possible that our current understanding of the solar system may undergo a significant transformation. Similar to Sedna, those who believe in the theory of Planet 9 think that the planet only travels through the inner solar system once every 11,000 years, and that its orbit takes it to a location that is well beyond of the confines of the solar system that were previously supposed to exist. This planet, which is probably slightly smaller than Neptune, has not yet been discovered by us, and this is the reason why. The amiable flying potato, Arath. Does anyone have any idea what the most odd celestial body in our solar system is? That's a bet you didn't know. Previously known as 2014 MU-69, the name of this vehicle is Arath. The NASA spacecraft New Horizons was the first to fly by this interesting Kuiper Belt object in 2019, which was the year it was found. It is around 6.6 billion kilometers away from Earth, and scientists are still puzzling over this peculiar object that is orbiting around. A number of individuals make the joke that Arath is a flying potato, while others believe that it is a dumbbell or simply an astronomical aberration. Arath is much more than just a wonderful representation of the variety and complexity of objects that may be found in the areas of our solar system that are further out from the center. There is a good chance that it has a fascinating history behind it. It was in June of 2014 when the Hubble Space Telescope discovered Arath when it was looking for a new target to visit as part of the New Horizons mission. An Algonquin Indian term that means sky is where the name Arath comes from. Not only was the name intended to show respect for indigenous astronomy traditions, but it was also intended to convey the idea that the object is situated in a higher position within the solar system. Arath is unlike any other object in the Kuiper Belt, which is the conclusion to all of this. The contact double-lobed shape, which is made up of two entities that were previously distinct from one another, is that which demonstrates a gradual coming together of two things. When it comes to artifacts like Arath, this is the primary reason why scientists are interested in them. By analyzing its unusual shape, one can gather significant information about the collision history of the early solar system as well as the processes of accretion. Approximately 22 kilometers and 50 kilometers in diameter, respectively, are the two lobes that make up Arath. The fact that the two are connected means that the two components will gradually get integrated into one another. High-resolution photos taken by New Horizons revealed an extremely flat and red surface that was covered with methane ice. These photographs also revealed a variety of surface characteristics, like as hills, ridges, and craters. The unique red color of Arath is most likely the result of cosmic rays having an effect on the organic compounds that are found on the surface of the planet. These cosmochemical processes are fascinating due to the fact that organic compounds can always be messengers of life. A strategy is still being developed by the stars to determine when a probe will be sent to investigate this fascinating object. Because of the huge distances involved, the most significant challenge that such operations face is the distance. Before it is possible for us to send out a probe, there must first be a constellation that is extremely favorable and brings all of the fascinating objects in the Kuiper Belt as close to us as is reasonable. If a probe were to attempt to reach the object in the Kuiper Belt, it would take at least 10 more years to get there because it is located so remotely. At this time, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, is focusing its efforts on sending spacecraft to the frozen moons of Jupiter and Saturn. These moons have a high probability of having liquid water and even life beneath their icy surface. The Kuiper Belt, which is located beyond Neptune's orbit, is considered to be one of the most mysterious places in the solar system. Recent assessments indicate that this region, which is formed like a ring and is flat, contains an infinite number of buildings and more than 70,000 different items. The combined diameter of this zone is greater than 60 miles. The problem is that, out of all those objects, only a very small percentage had been classified by industry professionals up to this point. In light of the odd discovery that the New Horizons spacecraft made in the Kuiper Belt a few years ago, it is possible that the key riddles that have not been answered in the Kuiper Belt up until this point can be better understood. This movie will answer all of your questions, whether you are curious about the identity of this mysterious structure or the reasons why some people believe it could be an extraterrestrial spacecraft, exploring territories that have not been explored before. On January 19, 2006, the New Horizons spacecraft, which is a member of the New Frontier program for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, will leave our blue home planet. The objective of the unmanned spacecraft was to conduct direct exploration of Pluto, which was a feat that had never been accomplished by any man-made object before. Pluto remains a permanent part of our solar system even after the New Horizons spacecraft was launched into the expanse of space. It was not until August 4, 2006 that our distant neighbor's existence on this planet came to an end, following a re-evaluation of the definition of a planet by the International Astronomical Union. Pluto was selected to be included in the newly established category of dwarf planets. During the month of April in 2015, the time had come. New Horizons was able to snap the very first color composite of Pluto and its dwarf moon Charon while it was in transit, making it a historic achievement. During the weeks that followed, high-resolution cameras filmed the surface of Pluto in a level of detail that had never been seen before. When the problem with the computer was finally fixed, the attempt to fly by the dwarf planet could at long last get underway. The New Horizons spacecraft traveled at a speed of over 9 miles per second when it approached Pluto on July 14, 2015, coming within 7,500 miles of the planet. Not only did scientists build worldwide maps of the dwarf planet and its natural satellite, but they also measured temperatures and investigated the makeup of the surface and atmosphere. Due to the staggering distance that separates Earth and New Horizons, the data transfer process took more than 15 months to complete. Following that, in the summer of 2016, NASA gave their approval for the secondary mission to receive funding authorization. Originally referred to as the Kuiper Belt Extended Mission, the mission's primary objective moved to the investigation of Ultima Thule, mysterious doppelganger. Since Arrokoth was the final name that was given to Ultima Thule in November 2019, let's utilize that in conjunction with the official name of the experts in this situation. On January 1, 2019, New Horizons finally made its way beyond Arrokoth, which was located at a distance of around 1,800 kilometers. Nevertheless, would you be able to provide a more in-depth explanation of this structure? As a trans-Neptunian object, Arrokoth is officially recognized as having two bodies that are in contact with one another, with the larger component having a diameter of 12 miles and the smaller component having a diameter of 8 miles. An important turning point in the history of astronomy was the finding of this sibling body that appeared to be somewhat peculiar. Not only is Arrokoth the most distant object in the Kuiper Belt, but it is also the first dwarf planet in the Kuiper Belt to be studied in depth by a spacecraft due to its extensive distance. The experts had hypothesized that the asteroid would have the appearance of a conventional snowman. However, the photographs taken by New Horizons revealed the true nature of the object. The larger frame appears to be more similar to a pancake than anything else that you may anticipate. In comparison, the smaller part is similar to a walnut that has been dented. In addition to this, we discovered that the color of Arrokoth is a reddish hue, and that it takes almost 16 hours for a full spin. Additionally, during its journey through space, the New Horizons spacecraft came across a number of peculiar objects in addition to this amazing structure. It has been established that the spacecraft has successfully traversed the trans-Neptunian object Charon, the nature of which has been the topic of intense discussion for a considerable amount of time. An aerial mystery concerning the existence of the ominous object in the Kuiper Belt has been known for some time previous to the deployment of the New Horizons spacecraft a while before it was launched. On May 12, 1994, NZ-COW and Microwin were utilized by the Isaac Newton telescope in order to effectively detect the body that was located in the firmament. As far as the official records are concerned, Charon is a Plutino. Included in this category are objects in the Kuiper Belt that have orbital components that are similar to those of Pluto. It was exactly 20 years after its initial discovery that New Horizons committed itself to the task of photographing Charon on November 2, 2015, the day that it was launched. In spite of the fact that Pluto and Arrokoth were planned to be investigated from a very close proximity, Charon was ultimately observed from a far greater distance. The LORRI camera was able to capture the object at a distance of 170 million miles from New Horizons when it was acquired by the probe. It was in April of the following year when a follow-up observation of 66 million miles was made. During the same time period, the Hubble Space Telescope was also intended to target Charon. By utilizing this combined observation, it is possible to determine the orbit of the structure to within a distance of 800 kilometers. Prior to this exhaustive examination, the hypothesis that Charon is a quasi-satellite similar to Pluto was taken into consideration during the investigation. This term refers to the insignificant planets that orbit larger stars and are associated with them. It is possible for a quasi-satellite to orbit around enormous celestial bodies because its orbital period is equivalent to that of the star that it is orbiting around. But if we use the data from New Horizons and Hubble, we might be able to invalidate this idea. The question therefore becomes of the utmost significance. What exactly is ARIN? To put it more succinctly, we just do not know at exactly this moment. The fact that the rotation period of the object is exactly 5.5 hours is something that cannot be refuted. And the fact that we know so little about it up to this point suggests that its surface is extremely uneven. When the official facts have been exhausted, excessive conjecture can begin to emerge. Certain researchers have expressed their opinion that ARIN does not have a natural origin from where it originated. For all intents and purposes, it might be the spacecraft of a highly evolved extraterrestrial culture. The question is, however, where exactly does this intriguing idea stand? A synthetic form of gravity. The majority of the objects that are found in the Kuiper Belt are thought to be formed mostly of ice and rock, according to the consensus of the scientific community. ARIN's current rotational behavior, on the other hand, suggests that its material composition is quite different from this underlying pattern. In light of this, the quick rotation of the body could potentially lead it to shatter as a result of centrifugal force, unless it is created from a material that is particularly durable. ARIN's rapid spinning motion is apparently intended to produce artificial gravity, which is an excellent objective worth pursuing. At this point, the only source of information that we have regarding this kind of technology is from older science fiction films. There is still a significant distance to travel before the creation of artificial gravity becomes a reality, despite the fact that it might not be completely out of the question in principle. Over the course of some time, this amazing idea has been existing. In the early 1950s, Wernher von Braun, a rocket engineer, began experimenting with the idea of using centrifugal force to simulate gravity. He would later develop the concept further. Through the creation of a scale model of a space station that rotates like a massive wheel, he was able to accomplish this objective. The circular motion causes the interior of the station that is fashioned like a wheel to experience a force that is comparable to gravity. This force is known as centrifugal force. Things can become rather convoluted when, in theory, they appear to be straightforward and logical. It would be necessary for the space station to have a diameter of nearly half a mile in order to produce a gravitational pull that is comparable to that of the Earth. There is also the possibility that the structure will rapidly spin on its own axis without any external force. However, with the skills that we currently possess, the amount of work that would be required to accomplish this is simply not feasible. We have not yet been successful in artificially producing gravity for reasons that are not related to the conditions that simply are not feasible. In point of fact, our comprehension of the gravitational background is still insufficient because of the disparity in their sizes. It is a well-established fact that masses are drawn to one another. On the other hand, the particulars of how this mass attraction operates are still a mystery. The theory of general relativity that Einstein developed defined relationship between space, time, and matter. This relationship is relevant to this topic. In the fundamental concept of mass attraction, the curvature of space, which is induced by gravity, is the fundamental principle. According to the explanations that are supplied by quantum theory, this phenomenon must be attributed to a particular particle in order to be considered significant. However, researchers have not been able to unequivocally establish that it is present. There is a possibility that the discovery of this mysterious graviton in the distant future could pave the way for the development of artificial gravity. Is it a spaceship? As a result, the issue that arises is, why should one even bother attempting to intentionally manufacture gravity? Do you not believe that a stay in zero gravity is the ultimate of unrestricted freedom? Certainly not at all. Mainly due to the fact that being weightless is associated with a number of potentially serious health hazards. The loss of bone and muscle mass, nausea, and vertigo that are brought on by an imbalanced sense of balance are some of the symptoms that can be experienced. Brain contusions, which are caused by poor drainage of cerebral spinal fluid under weightlessness, can lead to visual abnormalities. These abnormalities can be seen in the patient. In that situation, would you say that the ARIN men are a little bit ahead of us? Could there even be a spacecraft that is as complicated as this one? The tales of gravity generators constructed of human materials are exciting. However, we must not lose sight of the fact that there is no evidence to suggest that the object in the Kuiper Belt is, in fact, a man-made item. On the other hand, the opposite is also true. It's possible for assumptions to be just as crazy as ARIN's history, which has remained a mystery up until this point. A heartfelt thank you for being here with us today as we come to the end of our journey at Spaceverse. Your support is what drives our investigation of the cosmos. Remember to hit the notification bell and subscribe to our channel so that you can continue to explore with us. See you until the next time we cross paths in the cosmos.